Welcome back to the Build a Nation Challenge. What a season, what a glorious season the last one was, and now new possibilities open up. We could leave, or we could stay with B68. No matter what, Faroese football is on the rise. We've got a good base of players if we look at the current setup. Decent first choices, decent rotation options, and even decent third options for many spots in the team. We're not going to build a lone farm like in the past, but we will future-proof the team with the best young talent we can find on long contracts. So what you see here, and what I'm already planning, is players aged 21 or under, both at the club and coming in through pre-arranged deals. Hopefully we can find even more, and of course we'll take a closer look at anyone who might be part of the first team when they arrive. In terms of our finances, we're looking really good. We have 4.4 million in the bank, and that's before we receive all the bonuses from playing in the Europa League this campaign. Along with 4.7 million in the transfer budget, we can easily spend more on wages if we choose to. We still have 3 games left in the Europa League, and the easiest one, against Maribor, went smoothly and as planned with a 5-1 result. Henriksen is starting this season how he ended the last one, scoring a lot of goals. The transfer window is open for business, and we're starting with the released players. We've got 3 of those. Wallund and Ostergaard have been significant first team members. In fact, I'd go so far as to call Ostergaard a B68 icon. He's an academy player, has played his entire career here, but now at 33 and lacking the quality we need, it's time to see him go. Then we've got the youngsters I was talking about coming in. 7 of them, but I only plan to directly use 3 in the first team right now, so we might end up loaning out the rest. The first of those 3 is Bennett Emmerling, a fullback who's probably the best on the right-hand side. So not only is he a youngster, but he's already quality. The second is Tommy Lindberg, another striker or inside forward. I think he might be better as an inside forward, but in any case, the competition is fierce in both spots. So it's not unlikely that either he or someone else will be loaned out to keep everyone happy. Sigurður Thorlacius is the last one, and maybe also the best of the youngsters we brought in. He's technically a bit of a mix of many different things, but my plan with him is to completely retrain him into a fullback, as he's got all the attributes for it. I just can't stop signing strikers apparently, as I did it again. Fredrik Lundqvist isn't even a youngster, and I'm not going to use him as a striker either. No, he's going to be an option on the left as an inside forward. He's a Suderoy reject and on pretty big wages for us, but I think he'll be worth it. Another youngster coming in, Olafur Olafsson, is just one more that we plan to loan out, adding to the tally of decent youngsters for when we leave. We ended up getting a draw against Ajax at home, which, all things considered, is a pretty decent result. The last game in the league phase was against Sevilla away from home, in what I thought would be a loss. But as it happens, we're just really good, as we got another 3 points, and we're even the better team. And that means we're the second best team in the Europa League, ahead of quite a lot of big teams. That also means we get directly into the round of 16 with a slightly easier opponent, which is absolutely brilliant. But I've got even more good news. We're in the Conference League, with both our teams in the top 24. Klaksvik is in 12th place, and while Vikingur has struggled lately, they still managed a 19th spot. Very happy both of them got through again this year, and Suderoy just about squeezed through in 22nd place over the Champions League, so all 4 teams are through to the knockout phase again this season. I'm honestly surprised how well the other teams have managed these last 2 seasons. Alright, we've got what I believe will be the last signing for the first team. Ask Erik Berg Rodal. I felt like we needed a bit more depth in the midfield, and it was maybe a mistake loaning out 2 youngsters who could have contributed here. So now we ended up paying 300,000 for this guy. Though I'm sure he's worth it, it might not have been necessary had I been smarter. Klaksvik advanced to the round of 16 after beating Eki, which was not an easy matchup, so a very good result. I wonder when Vikingur will get an easy opponent in a knockout phase. Well, not yet. And they unfortunately lost this hard draw against Reims. But we can't blame them. They did perfectly fine this season. We, on the other hand, got the absolute best draw possible for our round of 16. Honestly, I don't even know who these guys are, but just looking at their estimated value, we pretty much pulled the lowest ranked club out of the hat. We're back to start a new season with the Super Cup, and for the first time ever, B68 can lift it. Though we did win 2-0 against Suðuroy, we were properly lucky winning it. But that's another trophy to check off our list, only the league remains. In terms of that, Suðuroy is still the favorite, but we've definitely taken a big leap forward, and can easily call B68 the second best. And probably also the most successful team on the Faroe Islands with that Conference League trophy. Suðuroy has been knocked out of the Champions League by Juventus. They gave them a fight, and I think that's all we can really ask for. We've signed 2 more youngsters for around 50,000 each. One of them is getting loaned back to the club he came from, and the other might be part of the first team if another development on the transfer happens. In any case, they're of course part of the strategy to future-proof the club with good talent on long contract. And that development is that Jakob Fuglsang is going to be sold. He was not happy with his playing time. And us cashing in 1 million for a 30-year-old when we've got 2 other players who are better and younger is perfect for us. Lars Ketil Mosbrand is that new youngster who will be his replacement, though only as a third option, so I doubt he'll be playing much. And that does end the transfer window. And I think we can be very happy. We've signed 12 players, 11 of them youngsters, and we've also loaned out everyone I wanted to loan out, most of them to Faroe Islands clubs. So definitely a successful window. We then arrived at the first leg in the round of 16 against our Serbian opponents, away from home. And we're the favorites to win, and I do also think it will be a decisive victory over 2 legs. After 16 minutes, we got our first goal, and who other than last season's record breaker, Henriksen, to score it, of course. In the second half, we scored again, this time after a corner where the ball gets back to Kapeda, who cuts it back to a completely free Jespersen, who can score an easy goal. And that's how it ends. A well-deserved 2-0 victory, but I do hope we can score a couple more in the second leg. While we're 2 goals ahead, we're taking no risks and putting our strongest 11 in for the home game too. Captain Osmani is making it a 3-goal lead after 21 minutes, making it a lot more comfortable. 5 minutes later, Henriksen is making sure that the correct team is going to get knocked out at the end of it. Late in the game, Kapeda came in and finished this dominant display with our 3rd goal. Full time, 5-0 on aggregate, and we're through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Unfortunately, Klaksvik was not lucky with their draw over in the Conference League, probably the worst possible in Napoli, and that also proved to be too much for them to handle. We've been given Feyenoord for the quarterfinals, not the worst, but not the best opponent either. For the first time ever, we have a player in the top 50 wonderkids in the world. Sigurður Thorlacius is 29th on the list. First leg in the quarterfinal, and we need a positive result here at home, as Feyenoord is definitely the best team we've met in this campaign. Starting incredibly, Kapeda plays Henriksen free in the box, and he hits the target just 7 minutes in. The second goal in the second half was created by a fantastic pass by Jespersen, who finds SRS hammering it in. First highlight of theirs, and they don't even get a shot on target, but still score as Schumacher makes a horrible mistake and sends the ball into our own goal. Thankfully, we scored it again just a few minutes later, and it was again Suarez with his fast first-time shot, giving us a 2-goal lead. But Schumacher ended his terrible evening with a direct red from an idiotic tackle, with us having used all substitutes. Though it didn't change the outcome, as the game ended 3-1 to us. Not a bad result, but I think, looking at the statistics, we should have won this without conceding. Nonetheless, it's the positive result we were looking for. Bad news. Our captain Osmani is out for 7 to 9 months with a broken leg. Second leg, and we're definitely not the favorites this time around. But of course, all we need to do is not concede 2 goals, and we'll win it. Well, there are chances at both ends, but it's Feyenoord who scores first, reducing our lead to just 1 goal. Second half, and I think this is very much tipping in the direction of smelling like a Feyenoord win, as they score their second to make it even on aggregate. 80th minute, and yes, this is looking like a bottle job. They get all the highlights, and we're in the mud, falling behind with only 10 minutes to go. And there we have it, 4-3 on aggregate. We're beaten in the quarterfinal. Maybe slightly disappointing that we at least couldn't get extra time or score a goal with 2 expected goals. So the strikers really let us down in this one. The national team is going to be playing in the European League division again, And we've got a pretty tough group with Czechia, Hungary, and Ukraine. I'm not sure about our chances, as I think all three of these nations will likely be hard to beat, but not impossible either. This could really go either way. We've played half a season, and things look pretty good with 17 wins and just one draw in Faroese competitions, which means we're top of the table in the Meistaradeildin with 43 points, 8 points clear of Klaksvik. And we're also still in the battle for the cup, as we've got Vikingur in the semi-final. I know what you're thinking. Weren't we supposed to move to another club? Well, yes, but instead of last time, where we resigned and just took the first available team to manage, we'll wait until a team of my liking becomes insecure in their job status, which hasn't happened so far. Therefore, we've got another transfer window to deal with, and we do have a player coming in, who we signed a couple of months ago, who will cost us £105,000. Christian Atli Agnarsson is another youngster, but a youngster who will strengthen the defensive midfield and likely be the new sort of roaming playmaker. Or maybe we'll try the register role with this guy. Nonetheless, definitely an improvement and a future-proof player. Coefficient points have been updated, and we've got another fantastic points haul, actually our second best ever, with 18,750. Back-to-back big hauls mean we can really push for glory. Since we're now moving up 2 more spots, beating Denmark into the top 10, we've got changes to the qualifiers. We now have our first ever direct spot for the Champions League, along with a league path too, and the rest is the same. But of course, that's for next season. This season, since we came second last season, we'll need to do it the hard way, and hard it is as we get Anderlecht in the second qualifier round. We've got 3 more signings who are free youngsters, none of them for the first team as of now, but they've got decent potential, so I hope we can loan them out and they'll be an asset for the club in the future. Alright, so I've done what I probably shouldn't do. Spend a fortune on a player, 1.7 million, and with 10,000 in wages after 30 games. That's big money for us. So who is this guy? Well, Dorian Przybycień is our new first choice goalkeeper, and I've been looking for an upgrade to Busmik, who is also not considered a foreigner, as that's been a problem. I'm not sure if this was a bad deal or not, but it does feel expensive. That does end the transfer window, and we'll get most of the youngsters out on loans. So happy days. I'm honestly not really expecting us to win this, but we've definitely seen bigger surprises happen in this series, so I'm going to predict a draw away from home. Okay, it does start with us doing them dirty on the long throw in the first highlight, so maybe we do win it? 2 minutes later, we seem to be in another league, as we scored again. This time, Sare's putting it in from the low cross. So, alright, 2 goals up after 6 minutes of play. That woke them up, as they did get their goal in their first highlight with their first shot, just to keep the football manager gods happy. I thought Capita was a backup when he came to the club, but he's turning out to be a key player just a year after we brought him in. Good for him and us. One thing this game is not missing is goals, as they score their second from a corner in the 30th minute. Shut up. Make that 6 goals within 31 minutes, as we score 40 seconds later. What is going on? And there's still 1 more goal in the first half, as Capeta has not only scored twice, but also now assisted Sareis to his second. And funny enough, not a single goal in the second half, so it ends 5-2 to us. Obviously, a fantastic result, and the chances of us winning it in the second leg are quite high now, with a 3-goal lead. Even the game actually put us as favorites here at home, which I think we also are when we take into account how well we played in the first leg. Not often do we see a completely free run toward the goal in this game, but Lundqvist gets the chance to do exactly that. And he gives us the 4-goal lead that will likely be enough to win it. Just before the first half ends, SRIs is making it a 5-goal lead, so that should be it. Anderlecht was in the mood for giving us presents, and Capeta was chosen to put it in the net, scoring his 12th for the season. Also, Lindberg joined in with a nice little pivot around himself before taking the shot. I really like how that looked. Oh, there we go. We got a bit complacent and we stopped defending apparently. Full time, 9-3 on aggregate. Fair to say we made Anderlecht look like they didn't belong in this qualifier. Well, we need to get past Sporting if we want to open the gate to the Champions League. And with all due respect to Anderlecht, this is a much harder exotic beast to slay. Over in the Conference League, B36 has managed to win their first game out in Europe, and I think that's a massive result for them. Debrecen is worth 5 times more than them in value, so that's really nice. Oxvik won a pretty tough draw against Nord-Jylland in the Europa League second qualifier, so another big win early on. Can we squeeze another miracle out of this season? I guess there's only one way to find out. One thing is for sure, we've really loved to score early, and that's exactly what we do in this game too. We also scored the second goal. This time around, it was Henriksen, and for once, not a goal with his head. Sporting hasn't had many chances or highlights for that matter, but they still scored a goal in the 83rd minute. But apparently, Sporting is also a team giving out gifts, and Mikkelsen is happy to unpack it right when overtime starts. Full time, 3-1 to us, which is a pretty good result, and we were much better. Or Sporting much worse than what I thought. Maybe slightly disappointed with them scoring late, but then again, a 2-goal lead is better than I thought. So hopefully we can finish this in Portugal. If we could win this, it would guarantee at least Europa League football again this season, which would be really nice to get. But I think Sporting will be better in the second leg. 45 minutes in. Capeta with the corner, Henriksen with the header. Yes, please. That's a 3-goal lead moving into halftime. Okay. They hit back early in the second half, so this isn't completely over just yet. Aureliusson, off the bench and into the action. Make sure that we almost guaranteed the victory in the 81st minute. Full time, 5-2 on aggregate. Sporting was, for sure, better, and I guess we can be very satisfied with only letting in 1 goal and actually scoring 2 ourselves here in the second leg. It would really have been a lot to ask of B36 to win over Lask in the third qualifier, and they, of course, didn't. But they did contribute to this campaign's points haul, so that's okay. But I'm very disappointed in Klaksvik. They managed to beat a better team in Nord-Jylland, but got beaten by Partizan by quite some distance in the third qualifier. Though they're not entirely out, as they'll be taking part in the playoff for the Conference League instead. In the playoff we got Kyiv, and at this point, with us beating Sporting and Feyenoord, this should actually be easy. But let's not underestimate the Ukrainians. They tend to have better players than their reputation and value suggest. So we, of course, go into this battle with pretty much our strongest 11, and the media might have picked up on something here, as they do have some very good players on that team. Not sure what's going on here. We should have a defender at the edge of the box, but apparently, they didn't listen to our corner routine tactic, and for once, it's not us getting the early lead. But the main man up front is making sure that such small mistakes are pushed aside, as he gets us back level. I wish I could say that was the end of it, but no. They shock us yet again right after, as the Ukrainians take the lead once more. This isn't how you want to see a second half start when you're already behind. It didn't take them more than 20 seconds to give them the 2-goal lead. It gets even worse, and honestly, I also think we're just unlucky now, as Kazakov scores this beauty of a goal. Henriksen claws 1 back from the corner, and that could become a very important goal for our chances in the second leg. Full time, 4-2, and like I said, I think we got unlucky, as the statistics suggest we went toe-to-toe with them. And when we play them at home, we'll likely do better, but with them having a 2-goal lead, they for sure have the advantage. Time to do the impossible and win with 3 or more goals against Dynamo Kyiv at home. Well, I say impossible, but let's just call it a pretty hard challenge. I don't care how we score the goals, but this is a comical one. Jespersen hits the post with a pretty decent long shot, and the ball bounces off their goalkeeper to give us the first goal. That doesn't happen often in Football Manager, so I love it. There we go, just before halftime. Capeta finds Lundqvist with the low cross, and now it's all back to even, and I haven't seen a highlight from them yet. Oh, hell yeah. Didn't even get to halftime before Henriksen brought us in front on the corner. For the love of God, what's going on with these corner routines? I guess I need to change something, as it doesn't seem to be working, and honestly, I'd call it a bug. No way. It's another one of these long shots that hit their defender and go in. That's so funny, and of course, important, as we again go in front. And 2 of the substitutes are very likely finishing this off, as we get our 2-goal lead in the 81st minute of the game. Yes, there we have it. Full time, 7-5, and we're going to get all the money we want in the world playing Champions League football this campaign. We've got our fixture, and this might be the hardest we've seen in the entire save. I think we need to get lucky just getting 6 or 7 points here, which very likely won't be enough for the top 24. Tough luck, I suppose. But there's good news elsewhere. Klaksvik won their playoff and will be playing in the Conference League, where I could see them doing quite well too. Our rivals, Nestsoknar, lost their playoff in the Europa League, but that might not be bad, as I doubt they would have won a single match. Getting them into the Conference League might be the best outcome. I'm impressed with Suðuroy and how often they managed to get into the Champions League after we left them. They did it again, so we'll have 2 teams in the Champions League for the first time, and also 2 teams competing in the Conference League, so that should be good. We've won the Meisteradildin, and we did it in the best way possible, away from home against our rivals. Not going to lie, that's kind of satisfying. And that really was the last box to tick in terms of what we wanted to do with B68, which is cool. But I'm starting to wonder if we should just stay. I mean, no opportunities to leave have come around for almost 2 seasons now, even though I actively look. We could restart the loan farm and really try to push for more European glory with B68, which also sounds rather fun. And we go straight into another triumph as we end the Faroese season with winning the cup over Suðuroy, bringing us the first treble-winning season. The league ended with us on 72 points, Klaksvik in second, 6 points behind us. Suðuroy in third, Vikingur in fourth, and Nestsoknar ended up taking the last European spot. We've also played 5 games in the Champions League, and won 3 of those, what I'd call the easy 3, and lost 2 of the hard ones. But sitting 10th with 9 points already is better than we could have hoped for. The Faroe Islands national team has also finished up playing in Division B, and like last time, it never really got close to exciting. Ukraine was running away with it, and Hungary was a clear loser. But what I will say is that being second in this group is a pretty good year for the national team. Alright, so let's talk about our top performers. And once again, Simon Hingsten is taking all the headlines, getting the top rating with 7.71 and another stunning 44 goals in his 43 matches this season. Definitely hard to replace this man as our top striker. Henri Capeta took top assists with 19 of those, and also scored 14 himself, with an average rating of 7.22 in his 45 matches. He, for sure, put his foot down as a starting player for us, while also developing quite a lot over the season. A couple of other shootouts, starting with the youngster Tommy Lindberg, who probably took really good advantage of Osmani being injured for most of the season, as he played 39 matches, scored 12, assisted 14, and got an average rating of 7.2. For sure, a player we can trust to deliver. Christian Atli Agnarsson, another of the youngsters, and one we only brought in half a season ago, is playing as a regista, and he's for sure selling me on that idea. 24 matches, 2 goals, 6 assists, and 7.8 on a defensive midfielder is rather good. And he also improved quite a lot. So there we go. Another season, and a very long one at that. All done and dusted. And I think I've kind of made my mind up and decided to stay with B68 for the rest of the series. While playing the international games, I kind of realized that if that also needs to progress more than where it is now, we need an influx of a younger generation. And for that, we need to restart the loan farm. Thankfully, we already have a head start on that with some decent talent already here, and even more being brought in next episode.